The opening shot with the gunship flying through the air was the most challenging because it required the most visual effects. The blue screen wasn't properly lit to allow me to key out the whole ship, so I kinda had to go frame by frame and still apply a general mask. But I'm happy with how it turned out. I took some styrofoam and spray painted it like a beige color to create the environment of UTAPAU, and then used packaging paper to make the rocky crater you see in the background. Then I took 3 different pictures of all those things, composited them into one shot, added some motion blur, and created a loop sequence to make the flight illusion for the gunship. It was probably the most difficult so far that I've shot. It's kind of like the big battle scene that you see in the film. I shot this one with my camera off a tripod, and I sort of moved it around my table as best I could, keeping it kind of centered. And I definitely used a lot of like sticky tack here. Actually used it to prop up my camera too to like get a lower angle of the shot, which was very difficult. This is probably a very frustrating one to shoot, but it turned out okay. So the nice thing with brick filming is that you can keep your sets pretty simple, right? Like even if you just look at this whole Palpatine scene, right? Like it's basically just a background, a few bricks, some little details, and then a light. Right, so the light has some extra diffusion to make it less harsh, and then this hologram light is being powered by the brick stuff battery back here. If I can show you there's the wire there. It runs around the chair, and then underneath that brick, and then behind, so you can't even see it in the actual shot. And then the background is just a Coruscant background. It makes it quite easy to make a background because it's already lit from the screen. So yeah, super simple, and then Palpatine. So for this set here, I basically shot it like sideways here, right, camera pointing down, and built kind of like a mountain into the set with just those little angled cheese pieces, you know. It's the explosion, and then you've got like a miniature lizard, and then that's Obi-Wan there with his hairpiece there, and like some tan colors to kind of like match what's going on here, right? So that was accomplished. So this is the final shot that I got, and how I got it was basically just, yeah, my tripod is up against the table here, and then the one leg's on the floor. The second tripod holds up my loom cube, and then I got one light kind of shining more towards the cliff area here, and then my loom cube is shining down towards the subject, which is Cody, and then I just use a bunch of books and like a little plastic container to hold up and prop up the set so that it looks a bit more higher up, so that I get that sort of like, he's looking far down into that crater there. So I went to Michael's today, which is an art store, and I picked up some of this blue foam paper stuff. I used that today to kind of animate some more of the film, and this is kind of what the raw clip looks like here. Basically what I did was I just used the blue screen to key out the whole subject, and then I would mask out this blue area so that you don't catch the sides here. Okay, so for this shot here, I've got the set submerged in water, and I'm going to be trying to animate Obi-Wan swimming in it. So hopefully this works. We'll find out. Alright, so this scene here was a bit more tougher than usual because we all know that UTAPAU is in a big crater. What I did was I taped that packing paper to my chair and just kind of like shone a light down into it, and then used my loom cube as well to light the set, and then this is kind of like the shot I got. So here's a slowed down shot of Obi-Wan throwing his lightsaber at the clone trooper. I basically did this by taking 4 different pictures of the lightsaber itself and then cutting them out in After Effects and kind of keyframing them and scale them down to fit the right size so that it looked like he was actually throwing it through midair. So through the raw footage, there's actually about 4 frames of no lightsaber at all, and I took those 4 frames and put the lightsaber in After Effects. So this is a scene that has the camera movement in it. So what I did to accomplish that was put my camera up on this little Lego dolly that I made. So what I kind of did was I used a bit of this dolly just to kind of slide back and forth, and then I propped up the whole set on my UCS 10-4 box. and then I used After Effects just to make sure that it would work, and it turned out pretty decently in the film. This is just the raw footage here. Okay, so I'm almost done shooting the entire film. I just gotta finish up this last scene with Obi-Wan and Cody. If you've already seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about because this is the behind the scenes. So yeah, I'm just filming this shot here, and then I have my shot list all kind of right here. But for those of you that are watching this behind the scenes and kind of care about what I do, my script actually was supposed to go a bit longer. It was supposed to go to when General Kenobi is talking to Senator Organa through the hologram. So I did write out the whole script for that, and then I was going to end it where the ship blasts off in hyperspace, and that was kind of going to be the end of that. Alright, so for this shot here, it's a pretty simple setup. I basically just use two lights. It's my Lume Cube light, set up on my Gorilla Pod, and then I use one of those lights from Brick Stuff in that little guy there, and this is kind of the nice result you get. So, you know, there's some nice shadows, nice contrast, and right about there, you can see that's my iPad case, because I used my iPad to act as my blue screen, right? So it worked well, but only thing is, you can see where my case is because I forgot to move my iPad over as like the camera moved, but I forgot to move my iPad so that what you see there is kind of where it gets cut off. And I tried to fix it, but it didn't work out too well. It's not too bad, like, you know, it doesn't take away from the actual scene too badly, but I know it's there, and if you really pay attention to the film, you'll know it's there. This is also my first time animating without using these studs here. So I'm actually using the flat surface, and I think it's going well, but you'll see in the final result, I guess. So. So for the shot where Obi-Wan gets into his ship here, instead of actually filming it with him walking onto it and then up and then into the cockpit, I actually shot it with him starting in the cockpit and then him kind of getting out. Just with the way that this ship is designed, it's really hard to fit the figure inside it. So I thought, you know what, maybe I might as well just see if that works. And it actually turned out pretty well. So this is the original shot here. Right, so he starts in the cockpit, and then I just reversed it so that it's, yeah. And that's the shot that you see in the... Okay, so this is how I accomplished the ship flyby for when Obi-Wan leaves the landing pad here. I basically just got some wire, and I duct taped it to the bottom of the ship here underneath, and then I taped it to mic stand here, and then put my camera on the tripod, loosened it up, and then basically, yeah, just sort of like lifted it and twisted it. It was very difficult. I'd spent maybe like 45 minutes trying to get the right angle for this ship to kind of look decent, because I mean, it's very much more front heavy. This whole section here is a lot heavier than the back side. I had some problems trying to balance it out with just the one wire here, but I think for what you see in the film, it worked out pretty well. Alright, so I'm just in the middle of editing the entire film into Adobe Premiere Pro. It's kind of one of my favorite parts. You get to find a whole bunch of different sound effects and put them in. It actually makes your whole brick film come to life. Like, you put all this effort into making a movie, and then like you finally get to, like, you know, hear it and see how it looks together with all the VFX put in. This is kind of what my timeline looks like right now. All zoomed in. I gotta make sure I keep track of what sound effect goes where, what it's for, so I kind of try to use the color coordination tactic there. So brown means it's a CIS battle droid gunshot, green is Republic, and yeah. So for this film as well, I'll just mention this too, that I also tried to use storyboards this time around. All these orange squares here are storyboards from the battle sequence. And instead afterwards, I thought I'd just make like a quick storyboard here with like the different sequences for each scene of the film. So it's a lot shorter, but it gave me a bit of an idea of how I wanted the film to kind of play out. So that's what this one is. And then these ones are just from the battle sequence that I started. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this behind the scenes. I hope I taught you guys something new when it comes to film or even just stop motion animation. It was a pretty long journey. I think I spent around 4 or 5 months on this entire project when it comes to writing the script to finishing up in post. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you haven't already, subscribe to me on YouTube here and also follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of photography on there as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video.